And now that it's clicking, we are on. So, come on!
Preposition 1, if, ands, or buts. Oh, proposition 1.
Proposition 1. What are you doing later on?
Hello, baby. Oh, that's a different proposition.
Come on, the guy's up here. He's trying to do his J-O-B in the H-O-U-S-E.
Whereas is the worst of all crimes in that it embodies, encourages, and rewards all others, whereas the definition of war as used in the Nuremberg trials is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore, we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, standing down of all military forces, and universal disarmament. Further, let it be known, we the people, the party of the first part, state by our assertion at this time and place that we stand opposed to the existence or use of military force as we now know it. All those in favor of Proposition 1, please signify. All those opposed. Abstentions.
There we go. Thank God we have an abstention. Well, nothing should be unanimous. Nothing should be anonymous. It's unanimous. It's undemocratic.
Yes. Doing the other one. I'll do the other one too.
Oh no! I'm trying to shorten that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause for doing that. Thank you. Brothers and brothers, basket again. My co-pilot here, Melissa, is helping me out. I will introduce the door prizes since that is part of what I normally do.
Donald Trump.
A Working Girl Can't Win. Deborah Garrison. The Last of the Wine by Mary Renault. The Last of the Wine. Renault. Revolutions per Minute, and dedicated to the one I love. Poems by Marcia Campbell. Where's her picture? Right there. So this was given to me by someone who passed away, and I've had copies, so I'm distributing that. Living by the Window, Allison Liskey, it looks like, L-I-S-K-N. Then we have, we're not quite done there, Walking to Martha's Vineyard, Poems by Franz Wright. It's winner of the Pulitzer Prize over here.
How do you walk to Martha's Vineyard? It's an island.
Yeah, well, you get wet feet. Wiggly Worm's Adventures with English. This is a a songbook which teaches students or children English. Thank you, Karen.
Bye, Karen.
Bye, Karen. Thank you. And say this again, please. Say this again for me, please. I can't remember.
Sono stato io. I am I.
And it is a beautiful set of poems and some graphics in here.
Poems in different languages. And
Yes.
Cool. It's really cool. It's kind of unwieldy.
Yes. And then there's this, which is haiku by me. Haiku in Folded Meaning by Dan Brady. So anyway, so George Leroy Tirebiter is not here in the present, so we don't have to worry about insulting him.
But the Fireside Theater is here.
Yes.
George Leroy Tirebiter?
George Leroy Tirebiter.
Yeah.
If you lived here, you'd be home by now. Anyway, we have our keynote, Melissa Miller, coming up here. Give her a fat round of applause, please. And we have Britt Peter, Buford Bundetter by Q. Looks like Gordon, Oliver Wendell Holmes, Lauren Bacall, and Nanette Fabre on the tuba.
I kind of forgot that I was the keynote tonight, but I have this written in my journal. So.
There you go. You're good.
So I've been kind of like in a writing funk lately.
Funk.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
funk. Give me some funk.
Get the funk out of my face.
So I've just been, like, every time I sit down to write, I'm just like, I need to have this final product, you know? I'm just like really focusing on things way too much. But I found this excerpt, and it's by somebody named Eckhart Tolle. Does anybody know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, his writing changed my life. You should definitely read his books. But as poets, I feel like this is something that all humans can relate to, but as poets, it's very pertinent to us. When you don't cover up the world with words and labels, a sense of the miraculous returns to your life that was lost a long time ago when humanity, instead of using thought, became possessed by thought. A depth returns to your life. Things regain their newness, their freshness, and the greatest miracle is the experiencing of your essential self as prior to any words, thoughts, mental labels, and images. For this to happen, you need to disentangle your sense of I, of beingness, from all the things it has become mixed up with, that is to say, identified with. That disentanglement is what this book is about. The quicker you are in attaching verbal or mental labels to things, people, or situations, the more shallow and lifeless your reality becomes, and the more deadened you become to reality, the miracle of life that continuously unfolds within and around you. In this way, cleverness may be gained, but wisdom is lost, and so are joy, love, perception, and the interpretation. Of course, we have to use words and thoughts. They have their own beauty, but do we need to become imprisoned in them?
And she is going to detail the name and the author of the piece she just read, because it's my way of keeping track of. If you read something by somebody else, so I can attribute it correctly, and I don't always attribute it to Charles Hawtrey on the Deaf Aid singing Lollapalooza's last Hullabaloo from the musical of the same name. All right, so Letitia, this is not your first time here, right? Okay. Give a round of applause for Letitia coming up here. And then I'll do something I forgot about, as is my wont. Oh, no. We'll wait till after. I already, got you and be hullabalooed, and I don't want to steal your thunder, as it were.
Steal my thunder. Speaking of thunder, how about some stormy weather?
Please.
Refreshing raindrops holding fast on my window pane. Teardrops of rejuvenation. Sparkling sun pushing through the pane. Peace bursts from within. Glistening crystals of love comfort my being. Inconvenient irritations subside. Contrast of life embraced. Time of reflection, soul re-examination. Anger dissipated. Once more on my feet. Holding fast, opposing stormy weather. Managing these electronic things. I left all my poems up the hill in the car, and I said, that's nice. They're going to stay uphill in the car. So we got to stick to this. This one is passage. I found myself trapped in a struggle between happiness and depression, caught in murk and mud, searching for a way out, praying my stuckness will get shifted. Bricks are my weapons, breaking through glass houses, holding me within safe places. Foghorn is my light to navigate through the blinding mist of white blackness. Paint-killing plastic ore drags my boat, threatening to leak upon dormant water. Lake calling, blast spraying, glass shattering, releases me from my self-imposed metal, forcing me to choose a new trail, a new attitude, a new aura, prompting a luminous drive to overcome, pushing boundaries released from a delicate, bursting bubble, progressing through my meanderings. Got to have faith in myself, to accept the challenge of building upon the cascading bricks, of breaking through the fog, accepting the call in the dark to guide me in the direction of peace, allowing the rudder of my life to right my path. Discovering the dirt, supporting my stride, to give me the fortitude to release my stickiness, forging forth, not to the end of my rope, but to confidently trust each stepping stone brings me closer to self-respect, aiding a fulfillment of grace. Breath release is relief of pent-up anguish, producing calmness, encouraging confidence, reminding me I am willing, I am strong, I am loved.
All right, thank you, Letitia. Nice to see you. It's been a few weeks or something, right? Or something.
The 28th of March.
Oh, okay.
I'll be here.
All right. Britt Peter is coming up now. Give him a round of applause. I'll make a segue announcement. I forgot in the course of offering the door prizes, I forgot to mention several of them here. They are on cards. One is the co-pilot. You get to be here with me and act like a human being. The keynote, which she was also. She was pulling double roles today. The last word, which Richard Sandrell is today, which means after the break, he goes up first and he concludes the show after that. The mini feature, which is Karen Melander Magoon today, thanks to and with an assist by David Erdreich. We were going to have someone else, but she couldn't make it. We made a rearrangement, so you see what a mini feature like. And then choosing the theme of today, which I forgot to mention, was baseball. Today's theme is baseball. Yes. Just so you know. And I looked for my baseball haiku and couldn't find it, but I had something in mind. So, sorry about that. He is ready to go. Give him another round of applause. He was sitting there waiting for me and my yak clapping.
I've got 2 baseball poems.
Woo!
Yes.
Now we're talking.
There we go. Piper Davis cruised over in the wide center field toward a long fly ball headed for a vacant alley. Old Oaks Ballpark in Emeryville. 444 feet to the little picket fence that fronted the huge green scoreboard, the ball falling willingly into his outstretched mitt. Can of corn for Piper. He'd been at this for years. In Birmingham, in Mexico, in Oakland. The batter saying, "Ah, shit," kicking the dirt. The kid jumping out of his seat to yell. The old scout taking a reluctant note. There was nothing frantic in Piper's game. He displayed a contained fury at the plate, an accomplished fielder at nearly every position. Artie Wilson had been his keystone mate. He was Willie Mays' first manager. Aim, don't peck. They had a night for Lorenzo Piper Davis where he played all 9 positions for the Oaks. It put a few butts in the seats at the old yard. And kids today in Birmingham, Alabama, proudly wear T-shirts that say Piper Davis League. 1,200 players just this last year at the tournament in his name. New York Giants versus Oakland Oaks, 1952. Every year a major league team would play the Oaks on their way back from spring training. The Indians, the Pirates, the Giants. Bobby Thompson, already famous, the shot heard round the world, hit a screaming liner to right center, arriving at second base in 6 strides. The kid along the third base line was whooping and hollering. His dad told him to sit down. You're rooting for the wrong team. That didn't matter much to the kid. He'd just seen a major leaguer in action. Faster than a speeding bullet, the Staten Island Scotsman takes the lead away from the bag out there under the arc lights.
All right. Thank you, Britt. Let me read the next 5. We have Buford, then Edward, then Gordon, then Owen, then Wendy, then Tempest, who is returning from, again, we appreciate that. So, just so you know. All right, so, oh, Buford is coming on up. Give him over there, please. We get up
In 2001, I used to go and pay $15 to stand at the top of AT&T Park in right field and watch Barry Bonds hit the ball so high it didn't look like it was going to come down. He made the Giants Hall of Fame today. So we'll see how that affects the stingy motherfuckers in baseball's Hall of, quote, real Hall of Fame. Okay. Anyway, there's my anger about that. This is called Rack Up the Pool Balls. Rack up the pool balls. I'm ready to shoot. It sounds dirty. I don't know what it means, but it's just like my positive, whatever, manliness, I guess. The 7th of February. Tomorrow could be cold, but today was warm with sunshine. So was yesterday. Before, or maybe just if, the rain starts, there are no guarantees. I have enjoyed today's great gift of temperate weather, though optimism sometimes fades. I hope for the warmest, or maybe just the coolest of sunshine.
Keep it in. Thank you. All right. Mr. Edward Myque is coming up right now to astound us with his astounding astonishments. Give him a round as he comes up here. Why was it always a white courtesy tone? When a blue, beige, Can you let him start? You get me talking, and then I never shut up, and he just gets mad at me.
Dark angel. In love we meet through choices. In the limbo of confusion, to consecrate the present, the only triumph. Some future moment waits on this, how we can weigh frenzy in the fruit. Because we journey from dark into dark, on our own feet, drawn by the first spring odors of narcissus and hyacinth, and shaped by pasts we select to learn from, disoriented by experiences we come to clinging to inviolable prose and icons, longing to put our feet by families simply and crudely. It is necessary to accept the dark angels, tomorrow's promise. That was for Buford and his dark view. Don't be like the snake who wanted to be God, all so green and curvy, and fatal that dim little couple, Adam, Eve, starting the whole eon's road trip progression, envy, lust, avarice, murder. Think the snake knew consequences? That snots stink in nostrils by chance? True love has no blood in eyes. Love lives, suffers from ignorance. Rosie, the riveter, sweating wartime jobs, worries how her kids learn. But smarmy, fart snake feels it don't stink. Callow couple duo acts down the sink. Don't be like the snake who wanted to be God.
And like you, ladies and gentlemen, renowned.
Rough words for you.
All right, so Gordon, that's you, yes or no?
Now.
Huh?
Not now.
No.
That's Gordon right here. Aren't you Gordon?
I go now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you going to read from there? Okay. Let me just zoom in on him there.
Go ahead. Do your worst.
This is the studio of our lives. At midnight begins the jives and wherefore of it all. There where the drums are, there is the star, the central figure of them all. Of all the stars that shine above it, is the treasure we all covet, the comet, the planet, the cosmic comedy of all over. Read these, Pagliacci per quell'amore che mi piace, leave cumulus clouds, the picture of our lives draweth. This is what for. Together we believe in genius. We believe in flowers everywhere. As if were as a flower grows to spring, and as if ours told a tale to tell of everything. We believe this any day a garden grows, what grows among the grasses there besides, the jealous light of eventide, the timeless sway of time, will please belief with rainfall and the seasons keep. Loneliness for a friend. Oh, myself includes sigh his seamy-eyed dream. Somewhere in the shadow of faces, hallelujah reaches, but not yet. My mind is clear, I know I need to across to. Where is the light that says you? Then a short essay and that's it. What sort of care would make me well? Is there such a thing? There is such a thing as a question. What is the answer to that? To be thoroughly clean and light.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Owen Dunkel is coming up now, if you don't mind, or even if we do, because Owen is up. Give him a round, please. Comes up here to get himself started. Then it's Wendy, Tempest, David, Dano, McPhalanx, Sharon Scott Kiss before our feature Abe, who is in the house right here. Right there. You're going to be saying that a lot, just so I remember you.
Oh, I feel really affirmed.
Good. Good.
He's firm? He's confirmed? Oh.
It's better than being conlimped.
Clem, don't be Clem.
Limp. Come on, wake up over there and try to make a joke.
Can't even defend myself yet.
I know. You'll have a chance.
Confirmation can be fun.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, get close there, buddy.
In Lazarus, here in the focus of destiny, looking out to the wide sea, the caucus of clouds that blanket the sky, above beyond the dull day this April, about the ways and realms we all who spout quietly the stolid verses that our love, when our vanity wanders in, doves white and lily pink soar like pilgrims, stout but fragile, or raison d'etre does fly out of the cages we have set for it. Trap of doom, the sky, the sky of reason and trust. We adore, love, the reason, the season that hope desperately for the ways that care. We grope. Frolic star, frolic set as light as the downy feather in our ways, having just arrived, dancing the stealth and cruelty of pirates, the dance of determination set to conquer the new world, in their search for the lost sophisticates that cares for prayers and dancing doubloons. Palm Sunday, 2006. Branches quiet as the west. Nothing. My eyes are closed. The 33 bus. Journey such as our Savior upon the ass of Hosanna. The 33 bus, the Paraclete. 18th Street, the gay bars, the strut of manna. Renoir like bourgeoisie, wisely drinking cognac. Murmur their wisdom and of glory and atonement. Easter sonnet. Lilies, lilies, set the air afire. Et intuibat altare Dei, arise, arise. Crucifixus natus est, alive, sighs of the fields, the grass. Satire of true vanities, wishes, promises. Require our love, our young feeling, your passions. Circumscribe your every thought. Turn the cries, your heart aches. Wired, you see your old self, a man to suffer and another's cares. Does the morning enhance our view of ourselves? Are other men so aware of the strutting fop their proud dues pay for with each, hearts pure as God? The air they fail, as sure they care, but do not dare. The piano liaison. Dissonances, eerie sounds, clamor die upon the days your quiet intrusion upon the days of being. Conclusion, you came upon scene. Sky clouds, rain clouds, miss more. My after exclusion passes my mind. Dissolution of harmonies, the heart the half-wit of. Resolution passes in and out, not really the why, the reason, the chances that the love of silence and clouds, the gods sit on for the peace of ales. Above the rose of Dharma, we see up the street of noise, the fest of Verdi, our raison, messed alive our pretense.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. My round, please, as you go. Thank you. Owen Dunkel, a well-respected member of the poetical community in San Francisco and the greater Bay Area regions. And now we have Wendy Walters coming up here to give us her best. And Tempest, David, Jano, Sharon, and then
I'm hoping during the break we can sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" together.
we can probably work that out.
You guys really like baseball.
Take me out to the ground. I need some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if we never come back till it's root for the haunting. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out in the old ball game. Thank you, everyone. Well, We were talking about seeing that we couldn't remember the words completely on our way here, but we got them now.
Is it baseball season or something?
It's spring training, so it's getting. You can feel it in your bones.
Pitchers and cashiers. Pitchers and cashiers.
Yeah. When it starts, or early April.
All right.
Okay, is that a good loudness?
Yes.
Very good, Wendy.
My first poem is called My Words. I want my words to slide like a slinky down the steps of my life, plippity-plopping past the jagged edges of time, all the way to the tip of my tongue and make you laugh. I want them to roll right up to the moon, rollicking along into that secret place of pure, unlike no other joy. I want my words to split wide open every issue of being human and make hope easy to catch. Not ordinary words, not extraordinary words, not words from the mind, not words that bind. I want my words to scream louder than my thoughts that would otherwise outdo what my heart says is true. I like the slinky. It just popped into my head remembering playing with the slinkies. So, this one, I know so many people who are heroes in their lives and not in the media at all, and I want to write a poem about unsung heroes. It is easy for the hearts and minds of the masses to be touched by the exalting courage of heroes. The misdeeds of greedy and cruel cowards fill the news, but the presence and power of heroic acts are everywhere. And while valor, as often as not, sneaks up on those who unexpectedly find themselves compelled to help their fellow humans in life-saving or life-changing ways, known expressions of bravery are just the tip of a universe of good that shines unseen in the world. There are infinite, untold stories of unsung heroes. Family members caring for aging parents experience the physical, mental, and emotional strain of minimal support for their own needs, or any family member for that matter. Teachers serve children with multiple disabilities in already overcrowded classrooms without assistance, even as they understand it takes a village to raise any child, let alone a child with many special needs. Neighbors look after abandoned pets and wounded animals on their own time in the midst of already consuming personal responsibilities, realizing they are connected to all life, no matter how different in nature or how less important appearing the situation. People clean up after other people's messes left out of ignorance, greed, or apathy. Small acts of generosity never noticed. Heroes come in every manner imaginable, from the grand and great to the small, not-so-visible offerings hidden from wider recognition, with hearts-lifting hands and feet to acts of kindness. The sort of thing that makes life worth living for the giver and makes life far more livable for the receiver.
About
A minute?
a minute and a half.
I didn't say anything.
I'm just going to share a few haiku that I edited. Hardly ever edit my haiku, but and I have a few new ones. Let's see. On Giving Tuesday, shoppers in their frenzy stop to give love today. And then someone started doing Giving Wednesday and Giving Thursday. At Christmas dinner, warmth of friendships bright, someone's sadness disappears. staying home, not well. She rests uncomfortably, waiting for relief. That was me in January. A few more seconds.
Yeah, just you're doing other, yeah, well, that would be good.
Okay. Watching and waiting, meteor showers to view. Nothing in the sky.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Wendy. Now we have Tempest. 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 Welcome back.
This one is called Little Black Girl. Obviously most of you in here are not black, so if you don't understand this, it's okay. Whenever I see a little black girl, I can't help but stare and wonder. When is the day she'll begin to hate her hair, her personal garden, her roots? When will her mother hold her soft cheeks in her tired hands as she wept, for the kids at school told her to go back to Africa? When is the day she'll purchase the creamy crack, destroying her roots but believing she shouldn't go back? When is the day her mind will succumb to the beautiful golden locks of Rapunzel or the heat-kissed hair of her own idols? When is the day she'll stand in the mirror and think, I hate my blackness? I ask not if there will be those days, but when. Too many of us black women can relate. We've been taught not to love, only to hate. Our garden, our history, our personal roots. Afros are bad, being a nigger is not cute. If given the opportunity, will we stand together and rise? Will we tell little black girls their hair is not their demise? My worth is not measured on what grows from my head. Your worth is not lost if a white boy leaves you on red. No, our worth is embedded in our ancestors' sacrifice. So love your hair and embrace this life. This one is just called Today, and it was written on the inauguration of Donald Trump. If you support Trump, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Or I feel sorry for
Why are you here? Is the question.
Given life at the turn of the century, I felt no right to claim the struggles of the past. I learned about those who despise me through textbooks published in the 2000s and black and white reels of the 60s, delineating history from today. At the time, my mind could only think, we're in a different time now. Almost as if to reassure me that days of brown skin being the issue instead of what lies beneath as a wisp of the past. However, it seems as if these black and white pasts are too similar to the present, and these colored yesterdays are too different than today. This one is called Daydreaming. Dreaming to me is the worst kind of play. Dreams of tomorrow, or perhaps yesterday. Dreams that allow you to run from the present, help you escape to some place where life's pleasant. You'll skate fancy tricks on a thin layer of ice. You'll fly amongst clouds with a small broken kite. Absent are moments when love wasn't found. Absent are teardrops that fell without sound. Dreams are incapable of mending one's soul. Feeling eventually calls, dreaming puts it on hold. Colors preferred, but reality served in gray. So in the arms of dreams, once again we shall play. I have one last one. This is called Alphabet Soup. Love is a lot like alphabet soup. It cannot be molded into one definition, rather it is an infinite stream of random letters and words, random emotions and thoughts. Like a small child picking out soggy letters and arranging them into words, love allows us to express ourselves in a multitude of unprecedented ways. When you're in love, you can't see the bottom of the bowl. Eventually you'll exhaust your vowels and circle your spoon desperately in search of what to say. Perhaps once the letters run out and the dish becomes dry, you've fallen out of love.
All right. David Erdreich is coming up to the mic. Give him a round of applause, please. Oh, let me change the time so it doesn't beep off in the middle of what you're doing. That would be rude, wouldn't it?
For me, I was a Yankee fan, and I wanted Mickey Mantle out in center field about 400 feet away to hear me when I yelled at the ballpark. So for me, always going to the baseball park was yell therapy. So my son picked up on that very quickly at about age 3, and I think my grandson will probably join
There
the
we
crew.
go. The crew. No, just focus in.
Feeling it today. Feeling it.
Are you?
Yeah. Standard procedure. Trim the rose bush down to 3 to 5 main cones. Remove excess at ground level, both leaves and shoots. Eliminate crossing branches and weird angles. Usually, we're looking for an inverted pyramid, an open vase. Create space in the middle at the top to let the sunlight in. I'm thankful for the new thick gloves, flexible and reinforced, agile enough to allow me to pick up small items, thick enough to prevent the small thorns on the tea roses from penetrating my fingers. Yes, there are roses grown on a single thick stalk, 2 feet high, and then spread out, as well as roses trained to a trellis, perhaps starting with 1 to 3 plants. Never leave the rose hips, seed casings, on the plant. Roses are so hybridized they don't grow from those seeds. They are propagated by grafting. Leaving the hips on the plant discourages new blooms. Rose hips on wild roses make good tea. Older roses sometimes develop large lumps, burls, woody clumps at the base. A sharp handsaw with teeth in 2 directions reveals a curious cross-section that somewhat resembles the burls on apple trees. No stumps or bumps, please. Always make your cut at the base of the stalk. I attend 2 lavender-scented roses. Their dead blooms suspend for a year. These are the ones I leave in my bathroom to cover my stench.
Thank you, David. now that brings us to me.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Put my glasses on. I do have one baseball haiku. It goes like this. A pop fly, the crowd cheers, the batter doesn't make it. First baseman call it is it?
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
So these are assorted haiku. And in the city, there's two streets, Loomis and Barnville, are out by the close to where Goodman's Lumber used to be. They used to be the land anyway. Loomis at Barnveld, midnight. The balloon drifts along, just dragging its string. And the thing about this, it scared the hell out of me. I saw the shadow come up behind me. Wow! There's a balloon. Okay, about this tall. Anyway, Geary Street sidewalk, hidden in the very small tree, two bickering birds. Well, a cigarette smashed out in the guacamole the morning after. That's a true story. And this is another true story. Summer pine, frantic ants struggle. Amber slowly takes its toll. And this is a football haiku. It's in the football season. 59, 13, 57, 78. Haiku! Yeah. The Wundermachen. And this is from a childhood memory. And everybody knows what a water strider is. Those little bugs are going. Water strider. A kick ripples the moon. Rows of corn stubble, the murder of crows turns to circle me. Across the pond, her faded Ford Ranger squeaks with the wind. Might not have been the wind. More and more things have stopped making sense. Thus grows my indifference. And this is from the San Francisco Blues Festival. It used to be held in the space area between the museums. Okay, but this has nothing to do with the music. Oh, what will he do with it? The ant crawling all over the big green grape. This is a memoir of sorts. This is for my brother Tom, but you'd have to know that. Tom's grave. Light spring mist collects in droplets running down the lines of his name. These are a couple bits in here. I'm going to end with some crunchy ones, but this is from 2012. This world's ending. Not so much a concern as what comes next. You got to think about that. You go, what? Geez.
At least we're done with that one. from the Stern Grove concerts during the summertime. Picnic. 2 toddlers on their gingham field dancing to Gershwin's jazz. Yeah, it was sweet. Okay. This is a political one, but it goes back in time, but it's apropos, you know. Worst case scenario. The world given over to lesser gods, all known by name.
Damn.
And then for my wife over there, she liked this one. It's a true story too. She gave me raspberry kisses in the kitchen. Oh yes, she did. Sweet. Okay, so this is a complete change. These are short poems, and then there's only a couple of these. Death and Ode. It's very short. This cold kiss, most desirous and dizzy, the finished flesh lay still and gray. The skeleton, a trophy of scars. Its mask with grinning jaws locked. Scary, you know, some kind of Halloween thing. Ink bottle, ink car. Okay. I don't want to end with that one. So this is these are 2 gross ones, but I love them anyway. It's called It Suits Him. In uniform, hard penis neurosis, retired highway patrolman, looks for runaways. That was from a news story. And this one, I'll end it with this one. Red Juicy. Red, juicy, cannibals eating meat. This jungle world dog eat dog rat race. Their cancers, revolution eating them out. Capitalists chewing fatty beef, waiting for the special of the day. Working man's hands in a rich brown stew. Thank you. Short, maybe not so sweet. All right, now Sharon, you're up, and then I think, if I do not admit, we have Abe as after that, our feature after that. So give Sharon a big round of applause here. Please comes up baseball.
Okay, who is this? Who is this? Don't look back, something might be gaining on you. I never rush myself. See, they can't start the game without me. Don't pray when it rains. Don't pray when the sun shines. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? Airplanes may kill you, but they ain't likely to hurt you. Avoid running at all times. You win a few, you lose a few. Some get rained out, but you gotta dress for all of them. They want me to be old, so I give them what they want. Seems they get a bigger kick out of an old man doing strikeouts. Avoid fried foods, which angers the breath. I sure get laughs when I see the papers that some major league pitcher says he's got a sore arm because he's overworked and he pitches every 4 days. Man, I'd be on vacation for me. 42, just one of Robinson's numbers. When future generations go to ballparks, they will see the number 42 written on the outfield walls or on the team's list of retired numbers, and will be told that the number was retired by all teams in honor of Jackie Robinson, the man who broke baseball's color barrier. They may even see the number worn by all major leaguers on Jackie Robinson Day, like they will in today's games. What they won't know is that Jackie had plenty of other numbers. He was an athlete. Playing football at UCLA, he wore 28. With the Bruins basketball team, he switched to 18. In his time in the Negro Leagues, he played for the Kansas City Monarchs, my team, and may have had as many as 3 numbers, with various accounts having him wearing 5, 8, 23. And while there seems to be some debate about his number while playing with the Montreal Royals, the Dodgers class debate about his number playing he was a AAA affiliate in 1946. Some confusion will be added for Yankee fans when they eventually retire Mariano Rivera's 42, and there will be 2 42s on the team's list, but it won't be the first time Yankees have retired a number twice, with number 8 retired in honor of Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey. Who was Shirley Povich? Shirley Povich was an award-winning reporter, and he's Maury's father, reporter and columnist for the Washington Post for 75 years. From 1923 to 1998, one of the most popular and respected writers of the 20th century in journalism. He covered hundreds of major events throughout the transformation of the sport. He died in 1998 at the age of 92. On that day, he wrote his last column. He worked for the Washington Post for 75 years.
Wow. What's his name?
All right.
Shirley Povich. It's Maury Povich's father.
Wow.
Okay, and then, this is Shirley Povich. 450 years ago, after Columbus discovered America, white America discovered that blacks could play Major League Baseball. The first independent clue was offered by the 5th child of the Cairo, Georgia sharecropper, who was elected for the Darling racial experiment. For Wesley Branch Rickey, it had become a cause. Wesley was a former player and a team president with high morals and a religious bent. As the president of the Brooklyn Dodgers in the mid-40s, Rickey was determined to find the black player who would negotiate the sociological problems and traverse baseball's sacrosanct color line, at least with volcanic effect. There had not been a Negro player in the major leagues since 1884, when Moses Fleetwood Walker of the Toledo Blue Stockings was banished after the American Association agreed to bar blacks. But Rickey believed he had found that man, who was then playing shortstop for the Kansas City Monarchs as the Negro Leagues in 1945. As Rickey and his scouts scanned the world of Negro baseball, Jackie Robinson's name came to attention. Robinson, they agreed, had all the skills, but did he have the personality traits that would soften the resentment of the white baseball world, so popularly articulated by rednecks? In August 1945, Jackie Robinson was called to Rickey's office, and there he was surveyed, scrutinized, analyzed for any telltale weakness that might upset Rickey's plan. He warned Robinson of the insults and the racial slurs that he would have from both players and fan in every ring. I want a player with guts. Guts not to fight back, to turn the other cheek, he told him. And this one is Hank Greenberg. Henry Benjamin Hank Greenberg, born Hyman Greenberg, January 1911, September 1986, named Hammer and Hank. Hankus Pankus, or the Hebrew Hammer, was a professional baseball player and a team executive. He played in Major League Baseball, primarily in Detroit. Greenberg played the first 12 of his 13 seasons in the major leagues in the Detroit team. He was an American All-Star and a most valuable player. He was also a home run leader 4 times, and his 58 runs for the Tigers in 1938 equaled Jimmy Fox's 1932. Greenberg was the first Jewish superstar of the American sports team. He attracted national attention in 1934 when he refused to play on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of Judaism. Even though he was not particularly observant and religious, the Tigers were in the middle of a pennant race. He signed a contract with a $30,000 raise to a record of $85,000. He was then sold to the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was one of the few opposing players to publicly welcome Jackie Robinson that year into the major leagues.
And I have to get trained here.
Okay.
And my plane going out here. My head's on.
You will be.
All right, thank you so much. So, let me just drop something that was rehearsed.
Usually I say I have a few unprepared remarks, but I have actually prepared some remarks.
Oh.
Yes. I'd like to quote George Washington, who once said, ouch. Thomas Jefferson, who was famed for saying, are you going to eat that? And then, what was his name? Oh yes, Henry Ford, who once famously said, no butter on the toast.
No, that sounds believable.
Yeah, really. That's from my book, Anonymous Quotes by Famous People. I'm going to introduce Abe Becker, though. Now, I can't remember where we met. Where did we met?
Just here.
Here? Oh, okay.
I filled in for my friend.
That's right. Okay, all right. So, what you're about to hear is a person who has very good delivery. I mean, everybody here knows what I mean by that, but this is something special about him. When I heard him read before, and when I saw some of the video clips that I looked in preparation for this evening, was like a very interesting style and approach to the word and how it's presented. The diction is, it forwards the cause of the words, the way he says them. There's also depth in there. He's performed with musicians. You've done slam poetry things and come away looking really good. So there's several poems that he wrote, well, at least a couple that I know of that he wrote about your dad. Those just are amazing pieces, and there's other things besides those. He has a good sense of humor, and he's passionate and compassionate at the same time. So he's a passionate, compassionate kind of person. And there's a lot of soul in this voice. There's a lot of perspective, and rather than have me meander.
No, please, I love it.
And on his 5th birthday.
Take a week off therapy. 5 more minutes.
Okay, well, no, I mean, he's good. He's a good-hearted person. He happens to be a poet, and that comes through, and it's going to be a wonderful experience with us this evening. So please welcome Abe Becker to the microphone.
Gosh, I don't know. I'm reading almost only stuff I've written the last couple months. So we'll see about that diction gymnastics or whatever.
Yeah, well.
Also, so usually I would prepare like things in the order I would want, and I didn't do that. So I want to try to respond to some poets I heard with stuff that seems related. The keynote opened with Eckhart Tolle.
Yep.
Is that Tolle?
I pronounce it Toll. I don't really know how it's officially pronounced.
Okay.
We can Google it.
This I wrote a poem called New Age Wisdom that I felt like responding with. I don't believe in good posture and noticing how bad you suck at breathing, aka meditation. I mean, I know it works. I just don't believe like Republicans in science, or racists and racism, or me in Google Docs, or someone's finger up your ass when you orgasm. That's real. But when it comes to New Age wisdom, it's real. When it comes to New Age wisdom, like being in your body or trying to have a good attitude, how do those count as ideas? How is my general bitter score not count as a good attitude? Who decides? I don't care. I don't want advice. I want to commiserate with an alcoholic who's tried everything but the 12 steps. Or a deadbeat dad paying alimony to his conscience. You can see in the foot of his eyes zigzagging like his whole life is deep sleep. My training therapist who's not paid enough to listen to this mess. My parents I wish I saw as just doing their best years before my father's death. Derelicts belting karaoke in the street to instrumentals and their mentals. Weirdo fuck up prophets are my temple where I find home in awe and loss. I never believed in much beyond kindness, scuffed with bad sarcasm and polished death wish, nothing more than a poet's next draft or a comedian cracking me up about what they can't laugh at, not your guru or my Buddha nature, just that we're screwed without our disgusting truths. I want someone to see me as broken as everybody I thought I knew and not go off on the limits of limiting beliefs. Flinch at my ugly, how affirming it is as we clasp hands and spin in circles, chanting our mantra, I am not okay. I am not okay. I am not gonna wait for some yoga mat wielding ambassador to a new age of just being present. When I've been to yoga class, that was easily the most distracting place I have ever not just masturbated. Said it. I haven't believed in friendship since I stood on the docks and watched the first fleets form and vanish in middle school. I never was a glasses half full kid, always saw my life as shards scattered that justify my distance from me. Maybe I'm just a sucker for you tender assholes who never stop with your shit talking. I like to practice forgiveness when you act how I feel. It's about as close as I get to loving myself. Thanks. That's also the most sarcastic thing I've ever written. It's really fun. I had totally meditated like right before I came in here.
We can tell.
Can you? No. Okay.
Just check.
Good. Yeah. But I just generally, sometimes when you're going through it and someone has their simple solution that involves like levitating if you just try, you know, it's really a good idea for them to get out of the way of my fist or something. It's how I feel. I won't do anything about it. One other response thing. You mentioned love and words and stuff. And Valentine's Day, I think we can agree, is the worst holiday of everyone. Here. Does anybody have a sweetie? I think Dan, yeah, right? Well, thanks for bringing that up earlier. That really was terrible.
Any time I can help out, you know.
No, I was really feeling okay about other things. So this is called Bedside Lighting. I was trying to write a new Fuck Valentine's Day poem, but it's not done. Bedside Lighting. This is after a poem by Diane Seuss called Jesus with His Cup. The lamp by my mattress on the floor where I sleep is tall as I am standing and weighs more than all my waking anxiety. So tall I have to sit all the way up and hyperextend my arm to turn it off when I'm done reading a short story or masturbating. It wobbles ominously as I twitch its switch to its brightest setting and then off completely the way my mind won't, too scared of being lamped to permanent mush in my sleep. My ex's new lovers all have these personalized whittled basswood candle holders she blows out one by one like romance Santa. Blows a kiss by each bedside, and smoke and possibilities and lack of only need waft peaceful above their grotesquely attractive physiques. The first months after the breakup, I noticed the homeless in my neighborhood weren't visible under the lampposts on my 1 a.m. or later walks to the gas station for emergency Ben & Jerry's. One or two would be panhandling. I liked it better when medicinal Ben & Jerry's. I was vegan till she dumped me, and now I enjoy food, so it's good. One or two would be panhandling graveyard shift by the cashier's window. The rest were trying to sleep where I get off the 18 coming back from her apartment, restless in the bus stop, safety grade glare. Porch light filters through my window when I turn my lamp off. I shut my eyes and imagine my losses, tears that don't fall but mist between our towns. Through the window shutters left open, splashing in a puddle beside her bed. Big spoon cradling her clanks to the floor, scoops my loss in its mouth, asks if she wants to imbibe the part of herself that loved me. The question gurgles and they giggle and make out and sleep and sleep. We called mine the responsible side of the bed because I controlled the lighting and got the water and phones. It was so cute. Her lamp switched with the necklace chain so close it didn't even feel like reaching. I can't remember what material covered the bulb, the safety of that dart, the unknown we would face together. I turn my death trap lamp off and on each night into morning. My window must look like a hostage signaling for help when the kidnapper's gone. Yeah, you can feel the love and a little, mostly just the bitter, you know, the classic Valentine's bitter. I'm excited to get a bitter. Excuse me?
You gotta love bitter.
I'm learning, you know. It's kind of becoming my whole identity, so it's fine. This is brand new. It's the only thing I'm going to do with baseball, but I am going to soapbox about it. So glad that's the theme. My dad was the biggest baseball fan that I've ever met, and I just love I feel like a lot of you carry that around, and it means a lot to you know, you guys remind me of his friends, some of you. It's really cool. I was going to sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game before this, but I'll just use I will reclaim my time. This is called What I Didn't Ask. He said, scatter the ashes of his polio at my sister's and my Little League field where the Giants play, but now we don't know where exactly he would have wanted most, though I believe he cared more about us re-becoming siblings, that we would do anything together after years of never was most important. I didn't ask a clarifying question like, you think you're gonna die? I didn't ask anything, or scream unintelligibly, or cry. I waited till he slept to get high. Brought him iced juice, waiting for my edible. I didn't bathe the man I will always not be living up to. I was waiting. Didn't ask why he waited till a week or two before he thought he would end. He asked me to come over more. I was upset about boundaries, decided in therapy to draw a line via text brevity and visiting less till he stepped back from a line he agreed not to cross some BS about my paychecks. What I didn't ask is, are you just saying you love me? Or scream, why didn't you tell me sooner with my voice? But that's what I swallowed like cheap whiskey. I don't think he said anything. I asked if he wanted to watch the NewsHour. Judy Woodruff said, dying, dead, and dying tonight on the NewsHour. And halfway through he went to sleep, and I kept not crying. I couldn't get high, and then got high. Yeah, I'm mostly just breathing, and I'm trying really hard to write poems, and those feel like the main things I'm doing right now. This is the first poem I've written from the bottom to the top. You see the title at the bottom of the page. And it's because it's about, well, it's really obvious what it's about. Anyway. Prayer to what expands with me. Lemons spiral up toward a sugar god who won't stop, leaving his kids miserable as I was, directionless on my father's doorstep after college, then plopped before his flat screen bush, burning disappointment. This lemon zest me not here, but squirt every sacred text to smear a magnificent display of vagueness. Oh, sour sanctimonious grief stages, so prayer devolves to whatever, Father, who art wherever. Lemons, my dad is daddy. My dad is omnipresent since he stopped texting during ball games and living in all the ways I wish we had together, and I refuse to believe I am passing out on shrooms beneath your boughs for any reason other than this is where I lay dosing and dozing out of your kaleidoscopic bright light glaring yell, oh ever proliferating citrus. I never believed in heaven till I sold his condo, and now I just wonder who moved in there below the evangelicals who brought him brisket when he could no longer make it from bed to kitchen, but had yet to admit we had both come this close to this abyss. Damn, I'm gonna host a new work series coming up, and so I feel conflicted about burning everything there in case I don't write another new good one before the next one of those. But I think I'm going to cheat, and just the rule is you can't have read it on a mic before, so I'm just going to step in front of the mic, and if you guys come, you can call me on that, and I'll defend it. It'll feel
bad.
All right. So where are you hosting?
So I'm gonna host Nomadic Press's new work series called Get Lit. It's a monthly thing, and it's in Fruitvale at Ale Industries. The next one's on the 20th, and it's just curated list of readers reading things they've never read before. I'm gonna cheat, obviously. Yeah.
So, but you're not on the mic,
right? Thank you. Yeah, there are a lot. I'm already coming up with all the. But I'm my time.
Okay.
Grief strategy number 5. Damn, I wish one of you could just like tell me if this is any good before I read this, but
it's great. 11. Encore. More.
Okay.
Bravo.
A Facebook friend. Getting deep here, right? Facebook friend regularly. I'm also confused because I don't usually write like short lines down. So I was reading a book doing that. So now I don't know if I read. Yeah, I don't know the words at all. Though. Facebook friend regularly posts messages to her dead dad like he might be stalking her feed from the ether. I don't think she believes in heaven. Just that he is free of what ailed him other than his desire to be closer to his daughter. I bet she sort of believes he would still trade a day wading through a molten stream to give her one heart emoji. I like to think they weren't Facebook friends in real life either. That's awful, huh? I told her you're gone and I grieve vicariously through these posts, and that seems a stretch if I parse particulars, but I've never meant anything more. I want to tell you so many simple things. I've never felt so small, or you when I look to the stars and it's overcast, but I close my eyes and hope you hear the simple things I tell you in my head. I want to honor you, Dad, I'm so lonely. Please say something wise. Please just explain sports. I love you, I'm lucky, I'm glad you're free of that body, but I would endure anything to be small and in your arms, or to know these words reach your smile. Thanks. Okay. Let's lighten it up. This is a little heavy for me, at least. Maybe y'all feel light. I'm feeling a little heavy. Yeah. So an Al-Baid, has anybody written an Al-Baid? It's a morning song poem.
Oh.
But frequently I can't fall asleep, and the morning is kind of a debatable thing for me, because I'm like, what if I didn't have a night technically, if it's yesterday, you know? So this is called Insomnia Al-Baid. I fall asleep if I fall, cramped in a cradle on a thin branch at the top of my fruitless tree. I dream I wake as anyone else. I dream I wake with anyone. I slur self-pity spells, lonely, loathing, loathly, loathing. A squirrel. Acorn bits expectorating from its buck teeth informs me I sound like nut gnawing. Whoa, that sounds sexy AF. I respond to a squirrel. And as such confirm I am dreaming and free of real repercussions, so I'm all squirrels are stupid AF. As if a dream squirrel won't take offense and bite, and that won't hurt worse than real life rabies. I'm such a foresightless pile of deer droppings. I cry out into my subconscious forest as the squirrel nuzzles my cheek, which is truly terrifying, until it whispers, I didn't feel like a pile of deer shit often, really. It's getting intimate AF. I listen to our breath dance, my languid relaxation technique with squirrels' machine gun palpitations until I snap. You haven't felt dung about dung. This dream's probably been going 10 minutes. You've existed less than most bugs. Squirrel shrugs. I press, what's this in a tree with the squirrel nonsense? Why aren't you my dad in his TV chair explaining the infield fly rule for the 100th time when I'm 12? And he's never going to stop having polio, but not die, squirrel. I want to wake up and live in a way that seems to conjure his smile. Okay, but also to feel rested, and this is not how restful dreams go. So play mini cello, please, some pain, lull. Oh, be that barista I can never seem to ask out right before I try and write about being pathetic, or my ex.
Squirrel bats its pretty lashes and scoffs like the entire real world. I swat at it. Stop looking at me like I'm nuts. You cannot eat my feral sadness. Dream Berman squirrel scurries down trunk, probably out of earshot, but I keep rambling. Am I rambling? Is it morning yet? Am I boring, you fancy rat? Am I mourning the right way? What grease stage is subconscious screaming at a squirrel running? Hey, am I awake? Wake me as a boy, like Dad, overjoyed at my existence so long as it didn't make him late. Or a young man by my ex by accident looking out from our last ever love sex, the second her bra strap snapped when I still believed in balance of what's missed and yet to come, and that eventually I wouldn't want this much to escape. Someone say I didn't introduce that long enough, but I thought like 5 minutes of talking about it beforehand was probably right. Am I okay? I got four more?
Yeah, 4 minutes. Just so.
All right, cool. This is real quick. Dad removing my hand from his shoulder on the drive to the hospital as a metaphor for when I bring him his glass of ice water and say goodnight, like I love you, but not I love you. For how talking could feel like riding a top-flight bicycle with flat tires. For texting, our defenses improved instead of, why don't you come over? For the primordial intimacy of men watching sports on television. For saying the same thing whenever he asks what's new. Nothing. For how weird the only time he rode in his own back seat already was without touching. For the over-anxious anesthesiologist's stuttering introduction in pre-op. For the nonchalance of my dad gasping, I'm just catching my breath. For his Chicago roots and my Bay Area blossom. For the start and stop walking with him from his minivan to the nearest object to lean on. For his corporeal clunker heaving exhaust rather than letting his son tow him in a wheelchair. For the casual nostalgia I inhale in his driver's seat now and the isolation that comes with ignition. For handling oxygen equipment so he could go out when I just wanted to hold him. For working as a caretaker for quadriplegics to help people without our baggage. For the baggage that ships itself and unpacks me naked on either side of any boundary I set. For how hard it is for me to cuddle after sex. For my violent response to the only time I saw him and Mom kiss. For how by violent I mean depressed. For how by touch his shoulder I mean exist. I think I got time for one more?
Yeah.
All right, you got to pick the poem. I got 2 titles and just tell me what sounds interesting. I'll say Breaking the News is a revision of the one I started with the first time I was here. So there's that. It's a lot better. I had just written it the first time. The other one, I don't mean to come off as partial. I just want it to be a group vote or whatever. What I think my housemates think of my suicide hotline calls.
Oh boy, this is happy. Let's go. I like the second one. Okay, first, raise your hand for the first one. Anybody? Raise your hand for the second one.
I don't know.
It looks like the second one.
The suicide calls is way lighter, so.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's way lighter.
Yeah. All right, what I think my housemates think of my suicide hotline calls. Tally 1 under the reasons I'm glad the landlord isn't renewing the lease column. Just don't do it before we move out, buddy. What do you mean you don't feel supported by anyone? I listen to everything you're telling this hotline in the kitchen twice, and you're such a dick even when I'm supporting you. My name's not underwear. Wait, are you being nice to the volunteer? Was I not a volunteer in the kitchen? Do you think I go for there for incendiary updates on the pie chart of your depression? How big that my dad died versus my ex still hates me? Sliced asparagus going to be this evening while you insult me? No, I bake pie because I am awesome and my life is good. Wait, shh. Wait, stop. I can't have the transcendent intercourse our perfect long-term relationship warrants, babe. What do you mean, babe? You know, he's talking with the suicide hotline. Babe, I don't know that. How would you know that? Silence. Hear that? It's totally silent. Exactly, babe. When he's talking about killing himself, some of the collective life force or chi of the house drains. I go limp. Anyway. Oh, you're so attuned to the universe and compassionate for your housemate's death wish, babe. Maybe I am. Even your erectile dysfunction turns me on, babe. Babe. Yeah. What erectile dysfunction? Oh, babe. Please leave your room. I'm worried I'm going to open the door on your corpse in a week. Whenever you do come downstairs, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I feel like an asshole, but more than hanging there or whatever, I just want to say it's draining. I want to yell it at you. It's draining. Feel like I'm like an asshole in my home. Knock, 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 knock. Hey, Abe, you want something from the liquor store? I'm on the suicide hotline. Oh, cool. Thank you, though. This is Stoner at the end of the hall for sellout techie by the bathroom. Copy. Stoner sellout techie copies. Copy. Roger that, techie. I have picked up a call that sounds like your typical hotliner. Copy. Copy. It's better than Atlanta. You watch Atlanta, Stoner? Nah, it's good. Hella. And Abe's, I don't think I'm doing bad enough to call, but I just have to tell somebody I'm not gonna, but I want to. Does that make sense? Routine is better. Copy. Not sure I can copy that, techie, because being that I find the calls themselves kind of banal and I haven't seen Atlanta over. Then why did he bug his room, Stoner, if it's banal? Over. I just like using walkie-talkies. Hi. I once walked in on my father pleasuring himself. I don't remember the uncomfortable look he gave, only running from it. I ran sprints up the hill near our house trying to sweat out the toxicity of my hero's hidden desire. I was oblivious to what my sweat contained, but I now suspect a simple emotional swab of my socks would have revealed embarrassed pity with traces of relief at his relief. I interrupted. I think my housemates feel a very watered down version of that sweat if they hear me make the calls. I don't know, that's what I'm ending on. I have to be like...
We're going to take, well, let me just tell you what we got in the second half really quickly. We have Richard Sanderell as the clincher closer, super duper bulldozer, kicking off the second half. Then we got Zane, Rob, Melissa Mella was just here, Tommy Avicola Mecca, Karen Valiner Magoon as our mini with Erdrich as the backup, Reverend Chris, Hal Robbins, Yasmin, and then Sanderell closing it off. So we got a second half to kick the proverbial bunting off the things that hold the bunting up. So I'm going to put this on pause so you will not be recorded as you might fear. As soon as I can get this thing, oh, I got to